morning comes too soon, on the heels of a sleepless night. Is this how Emmy's been spending her nights? Staring at the wall or ceiling, trying to stop thinking about whatever it is? Her, in my case. That clenched feeling in my gut is still there. I can't rely on you. Words spoken so casually. Almost like she were teasing me or chastising me, or just suggesting that the earth is flat. That's how it gotta be. How it's got to be. The way it's gotta be sucks. I'm feeling so miserable that I fairly nearly decided to skip the run. That'd be stupid though. It's not something I should do just to see her. Sure, that was the original reason, but that's something more now. I've started to enjoy the running myself. There are worse ways to get the blood flowing anyway. Never thought I'd say that after the first week or so, but I feel a lot better after a run, like no matter what else I do today, at least done that one thing. It wakes me up too, and Emmy herself said the running always clears her mind. Maybe it'll help clear mine. I hope so. The morning is cool and clear, if a bit humid. Summer's making itself known, it seems. Emmy's already stretching out when I arrive, and greets me with a smile and a wave. Hey, Sal. The sight of her so chipper is like a kick in the nuts. How can she be so happy after yesterday? I give her a wave and surprised to receive a hug. Hey, about last night. Here comes. I just wanted to say thanks. I actually managed to get some sleep for the first time in a while. I think it's because of our talk. So thanks. How could she sleep better after our chat? She basically told me that she wouldn't get any closer to me. And that let her sleep well? Excuse me, what the hell? Emmy either doesn't notice my bafflement or chooses not to notice. No telling with her anymore. Oh, no problem. Glad it helped. The venom that threatens to drip into my voice is controlled for now, but I think I'd better start running now before I do anything stupid. Emmy seems equally willing to get started, and before long we're darting around the track. I can tell she feels more relaxed. Her running has gone back to her more graceful movement I remember from when I first watched her. The stark contrast to the almost brutal way she's been hurling herself around the track these past few days. Our talk really doesn't seem to have helped her. Pity they couldn't help me. Wait, what? I think I read that wrong. I get into the rhythm of running, thinking back to when I can't afford thinking about anything else but keeping my breathing steady and my legs moving. Guess those days are gone, at least for the first couple laps. I annoyed at the lack of success I'm having with clearing my head. I increase the pace. There's that burning sensation in my legs. The breath comes right in my chest and the pounding in my heart, which I still need to be careful about, but it does seem to have gotten stronger. I can feel it pumping blood through my veins. The sound thrums in my ears, but instead of being panicked as I was that day in the snow, I'm instead filled with elation. Yes, it's working. My heart, that fatal flaw that landed me here, has improved. I'm able to keep going now, and maybe one day I'll be able to stop worrying as much. Right now, it doesn't matter that I have no idea what to do about Emmy and I. All that matters is that my arms and legs continue to pump in concert with one another, nothing else. At the final stretch, I remind myself that running really does help, though not as much as I hope. I do feel better as I walk a few laps to cool down. I begin to remember last night in a slight less emotional manner. Emmy wants to stay distant from her. Emmy wants me to stay distant from her. I can't bring myself to do so. There's gotta be a way around this. Some kind of middle ground I can reach. Not sure what that middle ground is though. Damn. I was almost feeling optimistic. Nice run, Sal. You've really improved. Nice run. That's all I can hope for now, isn't it? Congratulations, Sal. You're pathetic. I gotta change my attitude. Well, you know, I am pretty awesome. I just keep saying things like that I don't mean. Any second now, I'll be good at hiding my problem as Emmy is. I like to think so. Why does she do this to me? Say something like that with such affection in her voice, and it makes my heart leap. She doesn't mean it. She can't. I must be doing a worse job than I thought, because Emmy peers closely at me. Hey, you feeling okay? Maybe we should get you to the nurse, huh? Yeah, I'd hate to keel over on you. Amy looks a little shocked at my bitter tone. Don't say things like that. You've already done it once before, you know. Why does she act so affectionate? She doesn't really care. I thought she made that clear. But despite all that, I find myself apologizing even though I shouldn't have to. Even though she's probably just putting on an act. Sorry. Come on, let's see the nurse. I can't get myself to calm down the whole time. Every time it feels like I've gotten over what happened last night. Emmy does something or say something that shows affection. And I'm back to the beginning. The image of her ending the conversation haunts me. It was like the final twist of the knife that left me feeling bereft of any hope that Emmy and I could be more than what we are. And what are we at this point? Little more than friends who happen to fuck? And really, it's not like it's not like I don't enjoy the time I spend with her. I said so the other day myself. I nearly didn't even bring anything up with her. I was just gonna hop on in there and let it ride, wasn't I? With this running though, my head... with this running through my head, I found myself in front of the nurse's office, still brooding as she checks out Emmy. Emmy comes bounding out of the door, give me a kiss and darts off to shower, I assume. Meanwhile, the nurse beckons me into his office to give me the ritual once over. Any problems today? Nah, I even pushed it a little harder today than I have in the past. And, I seemed able to handle it. That's uncharacteristically risky coming from you, Sal. You've been hanging out with Emmy too much. She was rubbed off on you, and not necessarily in a good way. Well, maybe in a good way too, you know. Well, at the mention of Emmy's name, I can't help but frown unhappily in spite of my efforts at control. Oh no, this is new, don't you think? Last I checked, Your usual response to Emmy's name was a grin, not a frown. What exactly happened between you two? Because Emmy doesn't seem to be in on it, whatever it is. She looked more relaxed than I've seen her in weeks, which is unusual for this time of the year. What do you mean by that? By what? For this time of the year. I keep trying to find out what's been bothering her, but she clams up as soon as I broach the subject. Then last night she said, let me guess, she won't tell you because she says she can't trust you. And now you're crushed because you thought the two of you were so much more than she seems to think, right? More or less. How the heck do you know? It's how. I'm the nurse. It's my job to know these things. Plus, I've known Emmy for long enough to know that she'd try to do something like this, but it's just like her. He says this in the sort of half-affectionate, half-frustrated tone that would seem more appropriate if he had a cigarette dangling from his lips. As it is, he seems willing to make do with a pen. Look, mind if I give you some advice? Oh boy. Oh god. It's gonna, yep. Alright, you know what, yeah. He probably knows. He probably knows a lot more than I do, to be honest. He's no longer. Why not? What was it Mattel said yesterday? You can't observe the thing, then observe what's around it? Yeah, exactly. Worth a shot. The nurse knows Emmy better than I do. I'll wager. Sure, I'm open to suggestions. Honestly, I'm kind of lost. I've got no idea how to deal with this. I never would have guessed. He grins while he says this. I think he's kidding. Look, here's the deal. Emmy is stubborn. You should know that by now, and if you don't, then you're pretty unobservant. But I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt here. I'm so grateful. Anyway, if she's decided that she doesn't want to talk about what happened, then she's not going to talk about what happened. Has she said anything about what's been bothering her? Even a hint? Well, she did say she's been having nightmares about the accident. Really? You're making progress then. That's good. Well, I guess I can fill you in on this without violating the strict non-interference policy when it comes to Emmy making stupid decisions. The anniversary of her accident is coming up soon. She gets depressed around this time because it was a pretty traumatic event, considering what she's lost. That's the other thing. She's acted like she lost more than just her legs. What happened? Whoa, nope, not going there. You'll have to ask someone else about that because that's a whole can of worms I'm not about to open. If Emmy wants you to know, she'll tell you in her own time. You just gotta be patient, that's all. Why are you even helping me with all this? Because you're good for her. She trusts you even if you don't think she does. And if you got the best chance out of anyone at the school right now to help her through this time of year. She won't accept my help, but she might accept yours if you don't screw it up. So don't screw it up, got it? I open my mouth to respond, but talking sounds at the door interrupts me. Hey, you guys still in there? Just a moment, Emmy. Give us a second to get her pants back on. The door bursts open and Emmy glares knives at the nurse. Asshole. Didn't mean to get your hopes up. Hey, can we leave me out of this? Anyways, what's up, Emmy? Forgot something? I try to make a more cheerful tone with her. I need to upset her to can play with everything's fine game. Actually, I forgot to ask you something. Oh, what's that? Do you want to come with me on a trip to my house? And while I was making dinner, I thought you'd want to join us. Well, of course I accept. And he pushes the nurse in the arm playfully. Not you, idiot. You were over last week. Oh. Oh, whoa. Alright. I was talking to Sal. Oh, how interesting. Meeting the parent. I'd love to go, Emmy. Thanks. The nurse raises an eyebrow but says nothing. Great. I'll be... I love the nurse. Like, this is the most I've loved the nurse in all the story, the reads so far. Great. I'll be in my room swing by after you shower and change into something clean, and we'll grab the bus. Sounds good. I'll see you in a bit. This time it's me who leans in for a quick kiss before joining off to my room. Ooh. In front of the nurse, too. What an interesting development. Maybe we're getting closer after all. Maybe Emmy's finally ready to open up a little. Or maybe she's just being polite, and a free meal seems like a good way to apologize for last night. Great. Now I can't decide whether to be excited, nervous, or depressed. I settle for a combination of all three and hop in the shower. Oh, I don't think I like running on buses. Actually, I think I'm pretty comfortable saying that as a fact. They sway a lot, and they smell funny, and you can feel every bump in the road. I'm really not looking forward to this. Plus, Emmy's legs keep making a clanking noise that draws the attention of everyone else on the bus. She's in shorts again, and she's not She's got long socks on, drawn up on her prosthetics so they don't look so obviously false again. But that doesn't stop the odd look or two every time her legs bump together with an audible clunk. I shift nervously in my seat and Emmy raises an eyebrow questioningly. She doesn't seem to mind the stares either that or she just doesn't even notice that people are staring. I'm sure she's gotten her fill of odd looks before, and after a certain amount of time, I doubt she'd notice anymore. Not that she'd ever tell me if I asked. Another fact is, I'm not just uncomfortable about the bus. I can't seem to come to terms with the fact that Emmy appears to be trying to bring me closer, while at the same time trying to push me away. The nurse said she trusts me, even if it didn't look like it. But I'm not sure if I can trust the nurse. He's protective of Emmy, just like I'm protective of me, and I'd be likely to say something to make her look good if someone asked me about her. So he might just be doing that. Still, there was something about the way she seemed genuinely surprised that Emmy invited me along. Maybe last night's talk helped me more than I think, but I'm still worried. Meeting the parents is a big deal. He said parent, alright? No plural. Meeting the parents is a big deal, right? Not that I haven't already met Emmy's mother, but that was just an acquaintance. Now it's gonna be as Emmy's boyfriend with everything that implies. I can feel my heart pounding in my chest, an echo of the snow-covered afternoon that feels like it was all so long ago that it might as well be another life entirely. Except then, I didn't know what was going on. I also didn't have a medication to help prevent things spiraling out of control. I've come a long way in terms of my physical health, and for the second time today, I feel like I'll be able to live normally now, or at least as normally as possible. Now, if only I can manage my relationship as well as I've managed my heart, I'd be in great shape. Well, we're here. And he grabs my hand as soon as we've stepped off the bus. She starts heading down the street almost immediately. Come on, we've got a couple blocks until my place. What? Okay. I follow Emmy down the street, watching her confident stride. She's setting kind of a quick pace for just a walk. I guess she's anxious to get there. So, does your mom do this sort of thing often? No, not too frequently. Mom's never been much for playing hostess. Oh yeah? Yeah, my dad was always the one pushing her to have people over. The sudden, unprompted reference to her father catching me off guard. And the look of Emmy's face. I'm not sure she meant to mention him. I think I've only ever heard her talking about him once. All I ever remember is that Emmy's mom told me that he wasn't around anymore. Oh, your mom prefers solitude? Emmy laughs, either from the relief that I didn't ask about her father or her finding my statement actually funny. Not at all. She's why I'm such an outgoing person, you know. She just prefers to be a guest rather than a hostess. It's less stressful that way, or so she says. Clearly, she's never had to meet her girlfriend's mother for dinner. Emmy giggles again and speaks in a teasing tone. Nervous as hell? You shouldn't be, you know. It's not a big deal. Just dinner at my house, that's all. Yeah, but have you ever brought home a boyfriend before? I confess that part of my dreads hearing the answer to this. I know very little of Emmy's past relationships. I don't even know if there were past relationships. No, I guess I haven't. Hey, maybe this really is kind of a big deal after all. Oh, good. Now I feel twice as nervous. To tell you the truth, I'm pretty happy to hear that I'm the first one. Maybe we got something special after all. Bolstered by the new thought, I managed to calm down considerably at the mat. Emmy knocks on the front door. Hey Mom, open up here! The door swings open and Miss Ibarazaki stands grinning at her daughter. His grin is still surprisingly similar to Emmy's. I'm never gonna get used to that. You know, people normally wait for a few minutes before they start shouting at the door. And most mothers say hello to their daughters instead of scolding them right away. Ah, of course. Welcome home, dear. I missed you. I don't remember her voice. An affectionate hug later we're inside, and it's only then that Emmy's mom seems to remember that I'm actually here. And hello to you, Sal. How are you? Quite well, thank you. Nice to not have school to worry about after for a bit. Ah, yes, you finished up your exams, haven't you? That must be quite a relief for you both. It's certainly a weight off my mind, that's for sure. Mine too. I think I slept well for the first time in weeks last night for relief alone. This news is a surprise to Emmy's mother. She doesn't show it. Still, her response betrays a note of interest. Is that so? I'm very glad to hear that. Emmy, glad to hear that, Emmy. I get worried when you get all wound up about, well, exams. Certainly, Emmy's mother knows something I don't, or rather, she doesn't know that Emmy's told me about it or not, the nightmares. It's interesting being able to observe how Miss Ibarazaki covers for Emmy. That protective instinct to make sure I don't know any more than Emmy's willing to tell me. I suppose Emmy has got more in common with dwarfs than I ever realized. Moves around fast, impossible to understand through direct observation, yet she has an effect on everyone she encounters. I wonder if Miss Ibarazaki will figure out that I know about the nightmares, or if she just keeping everything secret from everybody. Yeah, it's not been as bad this year as in the past. This will help me to stay focused. Okay, I know that's not true. She's even cut off contact outside school hours during exam week. But she did see me during the day, and she told me more than once that the morning runs were the only thing she looked forward to during the exams. So maybe it's not that much of a lie. Either way, to hear that being around has helped, even though it makes me feel a bit better. Emmy's mother raises an eyebrow at the statement. Either she doesn't believe Emmy, or she's surprised as I am. Well then, it appears that it's a good thing you two have become so close. I'd tell you to take good care of my daughter, Sal, but it looks like you're already doing that. Emmy grins at this and seems to take pride in having managed to ingratiate myself with her mother so easily. Actually, I'd say your daughter's been the one taking care of me. She's gotten me out and running. I've probably been more active since meeting her than I ever was even before. I actually never thought of it that much, nor had I ever appreciated the humor in it. I wasn't too active before the heart attack. Pickup games at soccer doesn't really count since they weren't that common. So now that I know for sure that I have a weak heart, now I run every day pushing my luck with the help of my medication. I chuckle quietly, then I realized I never finished my sentence. Well, before I had my heart attack and wound up at school here. It comes up so casually that there was a time I would have thought twice about talking about what was wrong with me at all. But now it just seems silly to care, especially in the company of Emmy and her mother. If Emmy can't be cavalier about her disability, or can be cavalier about her disability, then so can I. I think back to the track meet where Emmy declared herself the fastest thing on no legs. The fact of her obvious loss has never seemed to bother me, at least not in public. Being stuck in a wheelchair frustrated her, but even that was something she dealt with on her own, despite my efforts to the contrary. Emmy has a way of bringing out the more active sides of people. I've never quite figured out how she does it. Those puppy dog's eyes she gets for stars. I'm not surprised that she managed to rope you into an exercise routine. If Rin weren't just as stubborn as she is, I'm sure that Emmy would have gone out and running with you too. Oh, that reminds me, Rin says hello. I drift to the outer edges of the conversation again as we move into the dining room to eat. It smells delicious in here, and The spread that Emmy's mom has produced is impressive. Whoa, you've made enough to feed an army in here. Is it too much? Well, you can always take some leftovers with you when you go. That sounds great. I can only handle cafeteria food for so long. Something home-cooked would be a welcome change of pace. What he said. Thanks, Mom. The food tastes as good as it smells, and there's a lull in the conversation while we all dig in. The assaults are played with the usual amount of gusto, and I'll admit, I set a pretty fast pace myself. So it's how? I hear that you and my daughter have gone rather close. The urge to say something like, not really, is so strong that I open my mouth to say it. But then, reassert control. We are close. There's no getting around that. I mean, Emmy brought me here, hasn't she? Fortunately, both Emmy and her mother seem to have taken my reaction as a sign that I'm caught off guard rather than considering saying something cruel. I suppose we have. I blame the morning run to myself. Make it sound like a bad thing, Estelle. Well, I for one found it a relief. Why's that? Emmy's been a popular girl, but never made many close friends. Bit news to me. I've always seen Emmy chatting with her classmates in hallways. And certainly the whole track team seems to love her, but it's true that she chooses to isolate herself during lunch. Rin and me. Not exactly the sort of behavior one expects from a popular girl, after all. Then again, I've experienced her unwillingness to get close firsthand, so I can't say I'm not surprised. I was beginning to have my doubts. Emmy rolls her eyes to the ceiling and grumbles something I can't quite make out. Huh? What? What's that you just said? Nothing? And Miss Ibarazaki chokes in her drink with laughter. You've been hanging out with the nurse too long, Emmy. I'm gonna have to talk to him about corrupting my daughter. Somehow, I don't think that would be very effective. Oh my god. I learned most of it from you anyway, not the nurse. Oh my god. That face is so terrifying. I completely forgot about that face. Don't listen to her. Or I completely forgot how scary that face looked. Don't listen to her, Sal. She's a born liar. Yeah, right. Oh, I don't know, Emmy. I think your mother has a point. What? You traitor! You're supposed to take my side on this. Yeah, but did you lie about your leg after the meow? Kicking the shins from an unmistakable plastic foot cuts me off, but not before Miss Ibarazaki eyebrows shoot upwards. What about your leg? It wasn't a big deal, that's all. I was just in a wheelchair. As the last few mumbled words are quickly deciphered by Emmy's mother. I suspect her experience with this sort of thing, and a worried frown appeared on her face. So that's why he kept dodging my calls. Oh, Emmy. I don't know how much you hate being in a wheelchair. No wonder you've been in such a mood lately. Yeah, she's much happier on her feet, so to speak. Well, of course, she spent no time in a chair just after the accident. I like how her eyes are just like going back and forth. She didn't get prosthetics immediately. No, she had to finish healing before they'd let her start the sort of therapy you've got to go through to just go to those things. Especially since she had to run on them. I had no idea. Yeah, it sucked. Oh, did you see Rin's mural at the festival? Emmy's sudden change of topic made me realize blatantly that she's been fidgeting the whole time her mother and I have been talking. I should have figured on her being a little skittish when it comes to talking about the accident, even around her mother. No, I didn't make it out to the festival, remember? Although I caught a glimpse of it at your track meet, it seemed pretty weird to me. I thought that's more or less what she was going for. She talked a lot about it being dreamlike, or trying to make it dreamlike. Rin's art is one of those things I don't think I'll ever understand. That's not surprising. I don't think Rin expects to be understood. She told me once that art allows me to understand stuff they wouldn't, or allows people might understand otherwise, but all the same, she doesn't think it actually works that way. I was surprised that Emily talked about this with Rin extensively, enough to actually have Rin's opinion, such as it is. Although I expect Rin could not, if she were so inclined to say the same thing about Emmy's. Unless, of course, Emmy's purposely keeping me in the dark about everything, which is likely, but unpleasant to think about. I drift down this unpleasant train of thought for a while, losing track of the conversation. Hey, Emmy, I've been meaning to ask. Huh? Are you going to visit your father this year? From the way she says it, you'd think Emmy's mother was talking about the weather. From the way Emmy reacts, it's clearly not the weather they're talking about. She flinches, a slight jerk of the head backwards as she's just been slapped in the face. Can we talk about this later? Her voice so brittle, strained. It looks as if she's been severely shaken by the question. It seems Miss Ibarazaki misjudged just how close Emmy and I are. Some things, it seems, are best not conversed about with me around. Her father is one of these things. The accident that took her legs is probably another one of those things. If reaction to this earlier conversation between her and myself is any indication, it doesn't take Emmy's mother long to realize she's screwed up. Of course we can, dear. I'm sorry to bring it up. I just wanted to ask so I could make plans. It's fine, don't worry about it. Emmy fidgets nervously as if embarrassed by her own reaction. I confess that her reaction is confusing. She only just mentioned her father to me earlier today, less than a few hours ago even. Why does a simple question about when she'll visit her father cause such a strong reaction? Unless whatever serenity she claimed to have reached by the meaning of her talk the previous evening has only evaporated. Or it didn't help as much as she thought, or claimed. I'll be right back. Gotta visit the little girl's room. Yeah, that's not... I didn't